Welcome, viewers, to BizTalks Season 2, Candid Conversations on Business, where we open the floor to unrestricted and unscripted dialogues for curious business minds. Today's session is very special. It's all about retail, service, and the joy of returning to the society. And it's told by a personality unlike any other, and very special and very rare in the world today, who has actually built the aisles we now shop in. So, ladies and gentlemen, our guest today needs no introduction. He's a titan of Indian retail sector. He's a visionary. He has walked through modern department store in India. Much better, he has actually built it. He's fondly known as BSN and is widely regarded as one of the pioneers of modern Indian retail. Yes, you have guessed it rightly. We are today joined by none other than Mr. B.S. Nagesh, founder of TRRAIN, Trust for Retailers and Retail Associates of India, founding force behind Shoppers Stop, as in his own famous words, the first employee, co-founder of RAI. His association with Shoppers Stop goes way back to day one when he joined as the first employee in 1991, and over the next 3 decades served in leadership roles, including CEO, managing director, non-executive chairman, and saw to the rise of Shoppers Stop into one of India's leading departmental stores with chains with over 180 plus stores across different formats. In 2009, at the age of 50, he stepped away from the MD role to begin a new chapter shaped by his personal philosophy of 25 years of learning, 25 years of earning, and 25 years of returning. He is the recipient of the Helen Keller Awards under his leadership, TRRAIN Zero Call 2025, the Zero Call Project, Zero Project Award in 2025 in Vienna was received by TRRAIN for his work in creating livelihoods for persons with disabilities, and Ashoka Fellow for Innovation in Social Entrepreneurship, and most recently, an author with his book called Serve, published in December 2024. He's also an prestigious and honored alumnus of Banaras Hindu University, where he completed his MMS Marketing Management Marketing Specialization. His journey connects campus, cooperation, community, and country in a rare and a very compelling way. Welcome, sir. It's an absolute honor to have you with us today. The floor is all yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me, and it's lovely to talk to young minds, and it's also lovely to talk to students from my alma mater, FMS BHU. We passed out in 82. A lot of learning and de-learning happened for us in BHU, and it's been 3 decades plus. The best part is that some of our classmates, in fact 10 families, for the last 40 years meet every year, maybe sometimes twice a year, and these bondings happen in BHU. So proud to be from FMS and pleasure to be with you all.
Thank you so much, sir. So life, I would say that over 3 decades in your journey has been a sort of a marvelous masterpiece in many ways. So can you share that your journey in the retail industry and how have you reached your current position? And this is, we believe that this will be the way how we smooth into the conversations and we get to know you, sir.
So, yeah, I mean, when I stepped out of BHU in 1982, I started my career with Blow Plus, the makers of VIP luggage. I was there for about 3 years, and then stepped out of Blow Plus and joined Sony Orson, which was selling televisions, another 3 years, and then joined Corona Limited, the footwear company, for another 3 years. And I used to run 128 stores of Corona footwear across South and East as the zonal manager for South. And during this first 10 years of my career in 3 companies, there are 1 or 2 learnings which I always share with youngsters, executives, wherever I meet, wherever I meet. Every opportunity that came my way, I took it. I never said no to it. You know, as a young sales officer, I got a double promotion to come to Hyderabad as an assistant branch manager, and I moved. They challenged me to say, can you open Vijayawada branch? I moved. From there, I came back to Delhi, went back to Bangalore. So this journey has been always of saying yes to challenges and opportunities, because they don't knock twice, they knock once. You get it, you have it, you go move forward. Unlike Europe, where if you have to move from one state to another state, it is one country to another country. We are still in one India. So easy for us to actually move from one state to another state. And that's been my journey before I came to Shoppers. I didn't join Shoppers Stop. I joined Ivory Properties and Hotels Limited. This is a real estate company, which is part of the TRRAIN group of companies. And I had a dream. I used to run small stores of 500 square feet. And my dream was that if anybody in this country opens a 50,000 square feet, I will join them. And it's a chance that Rahejas had a 50,000 square feet property, which was a multiplex 4 theaters, which was closed down for whatever reasons. And I got an opportunity to take up this job. And when I joined, there was nothing. There was no store, no name, no brand, no company, no employees. I was the first employee, and I was given 3.5 months. I joined on 1st of July, and Mr. Raheja met me end of July and said, we need to start something before Diwali, which is 4th November. Which means I had August, September, October, 3 months to start a concept, start a company, start a... Today, when I talk to youngsters, they always ask me saying, did you use a project management tool? Or there was nothing, there was no email at that point of time, forget phones. Yeah. So we were all in the white mail era. But पागलपन तो था, जुनून भी था कि एक मौका मिल रहा है to start something which is 50,000 square feet, which has never happened in the country. And I'm starting as an employee. There's always a fear. You know, when you start as an employee and the owners are not involved in the business, and you almost run it like an owner. And this was something which I thought was a great opportunity. I mean, very rarely in a professional's life, you get a chance to be an entrepreneur without putting capital. And that was the opportunity that I got. Yeah, I have stayed on for almost 3.5 decades. I stepped out in July as the chairman of the company. So starting almost as a shop manager, running a 2,500 or 3,000 square feet shop, to exiting as the non-executive chairman of the company has been a fabulous journey for me. I mean, today there are more than 250 stores, 5,000 crores turnover, 15,000 employees, more than 5 million square feet of space, 8 million loyalty customers, 30 million customers coming in. I mean, this has been a fabulous journey for the company, and I have watched this journey from starting. So if I look back and say, what were the early learnings that I had when I started? The first learning was that since I didn't know the business and I didn't know what we were going to start, because we had to start something. Department store came after about 30-40 days. The first 13 employees who joined me had no background in retail, no background in fashion. Okay. And we wanted to start a retail business because that is what the property was apt for. We looked at multiple options and ended up saying we'll open a department store over a period of 2.5 years, but start with a small section. Because it was an existing theater and we had to convert that brick by brick without bringing down the structure. So here come 27th October 1991, we opened the store in less than 3 months' time. Starting from setting up a team of 13 people, getting the merchandise, taking a call as to what merchandise we should get, which category we should get in, forming a company, getting the registration, getting the licenses required, deciding on the brand name, deciding on the strategy. I mean, this whole thing, 3.5 months, was very exciting. But because we had no baggage, we didn't know क्या नहीं हो सकता है, तो हमको लगा हम सब कर लेंगे और कर दिया हमने. I think that to me is one of the biggest lessons that I learned. That when you have a baggage, you always go back to your experience, positive or negative. But when you don't have a baggage or you don't carry a baggage, everything looks fresh and you can see it from fresh eyes. And that's what happened to us. I mean, when it came to selection of category, because we had only 3 months, the easiest category to start was men's because men's were branded wear. So we started Shopper Stop as a men's store. And Post that, after about a year, we expanded the men's section because very successful, added up ladies, added up children. And in about 2.5 to 3 years, we completed the whole department store. We had other options also. We had options to open a supermarket. We had options to open an electronic store. But there were some inherent challenges which I saw. And I was not very keen to do that. For example, an electronic store, even today in the country, sells the merchandise, but does not take the service responsibility. It passes the service responsibility to the brand. I was not ready to do that. I wanted us to take responsibility for what we do. So much so that in 1991, when every cash memo, every bill in the country said, goods once sold will not be exchanged, our invoice said, we are responsible for what we sell. Probably we were the first store in the country which is willing to accept exchanges, returns. If you're not happy, please give it back. Take something else. And that's the reason we didn't do electronics. If you wanted to do supermarket, it had a potential. But this is a 4-floor store without an escalator. And there was no way we could have done a 4-floor supermarket. And because we were in a very, very strong Jain communities, we could not sell meat or non-veg. And supermarkets require that as part of their business to make the proper margins and proper turnover. So we ruled out the two businesses as an exception. But if you look at it, both the businesses, the ruling out happened with customer and customer service in mind. And to me, that became the tenet of Shoppers. In 1991 till today, I mean, everything that Shoppers does, customers comes the first. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds of stories. If some of your listeners get a chance to read my book, Serve, you'll actually see there are stories which talks about to what extent people have gone to serve their customers. So we started off in 1990 with 13 people. After a month or 2 months, the chairman came and said, okay, what's the target? And we said, no, we have not kept any target. He said, no, you should have a target. And he said, I think you should do 1 lakh a day. We said, yes. हमको पता ही नहीं था कि 1 lakh कम होता है ज़्यादा होता. By the end of that year, we achieved our targets. And I went back and said, we want to expand. And we will do more than 1 lakh. And next year, we did 4.5 crores. After that, we opened Bangalore, we did 16 crores. Then 45 crores. We just kept jumping. And in the process, a lot of things happened. You know, when it came to brand, we had just a month left. And we had to select a brand name. And this came in more as a chance because we had thousands of names and we didn't like any one of them. And my chairman called me saying, Nagesh, my wife is in Boston and there's a store called Stop and Shop. Why can't we keep something like this? Anyhow, I had no time. I said, let's do Shopper Stop. And Shopper Stop has become a big brand. It has survived the last 3.5 decades. So I keep telling the students of marketing, young executives, see, brand is not about the name. You know, today's world, a lot of people talk about wanting to have Zepto, Pepto, Lemon, Orange. Okay, it's not about the name. It's about the relationship that you build with your customers that becomes a brand. If you look at, Jhaveri Bazaar, if you look at Tudundas Jhaveri, if you look at Bikaji, these are all names, family names. But what they have done to the customers over years and years and years, they have become a very big brand. Today they're going at billions of dollars. So our marketing students should always realize that just don't create a branding strategy, but also create a strategy which helps in terms of what the brand will deliver to the customers. Yeah. So that's how it built up. Then we opened a store in 1995 at Bangalore, which was a new area, the first modern retail that went into it. And don't forget, when we started, there was no ERP, there was no technology for retail. There's nothing. Whatever you see today, there's not one thing existed. So everything we have to start from scratch. Technology went and brought technology from US, which was almost the first implementation in India and Asia. We went through struggle, and it took a lot of time to recover from the struggle and come out of it. But we implemented it. If you look at the first store, we said, we don't sell, we help you buy. It was self-service. In the industry, in the garment retailing, self-service was not even thought of. In fact, in half the retail shops, they will not be allowed to touch the garment because they think, aapka haath ganda hai, garment ganda ho jayega. And here we were saying, pick the garment the way you want, try it, go to trial room, try everything. So these were all thoughts, aspirations, the customers that we thought we could achieve and we can help them. When we look at the byline, we said shop stop, feel the experience while you shop. And this, we built it very clearly to say at the end of the day, we are not selling products because what is so big? I also sell Louis Philippe, Van Heusen, Allen Solly. You also sell Pepe, Levi. So there's nothing, no difference. It's about the way you sell, what you deliver, the service that you give, the relationship that you build. And therefore, experience became important. And therefore, the byline said, feel the experience while you shop. So that's how the brand built. So as an individual, for me, if you ask me my 34 years of being associated with ShopStop, from the first employee to the non-executive chairman and then stepping out from the role of a chairman, is perseverance, persistence, consistency, dream, aspiration, struggle, team building, people, love for people, love for your customers. I mean, these are all the words that come into my mind. And these words have been common, whether we were a small company with 13 employees or a large company with 10,000 plus employees. These things didn't change. Please understand that you may have 30 million customers, but at the end of the day, each one is an each customer. So you can't say, I am dealing with 30 million customers. No, you're dealing with one Srijan, one Akash, one Ankit. So these are individual customers. So you are talking of 30 million customers, but 30 million different individuals being dealt through 30 million transactions, which means you're building 30 million relations. And that is the way to look at any retail. It's all about building relations for customer service, whatever. And there are hundreds and thousands of stories. I put together a few stories in the book which talks about to what extent people have gone to build customer service. So that's been the journey. And well, if the leader is excited, if the leader is aspirational, the leader wants to take the team along, the team pushes you up. And that's been my journey.
So, a very illustrious one indeed. And if we were to make an attempt to actually sum it up, it would say that retail is the relationship that you build. And when the relationship is concerned, we would love to know as our first segment, which is the early life and the first lessons. So, being the relationship being the central point upon which we position the conversation. So before the titles and the awards and the life that you know now, like what was the life like growing up, in Bareilly, where you hail from, and like what was your family structure in general, and what were some of the childhood memories? I'm asking a couple of questions. I'm trying to sum it up to make a generalistic view. So any incident from BHU which sort of uh, drove to shape your mindset, because back in the early days, as we've heard from the professors, that the sales was the only one of the roles, one of the most favored roles which used to come in the campus. And how were you able to make the decisions based upon the experiences general? So anything you like to share?
First of all, Srijan, I think whatever the professors told you was not correct. We never used to get anybody to the campus.
Okay.
So in our 1982 batch, there was only one company which came to the campus, and which was Rohtas Industries Limited from dairy-owned Son. Yeah. And they selected two of us, me and my other colleague, C.K. Sharma. I was from the marketing and he was from finance. Okay. He survived. I didn't survive even a month. Yeah. I ran away from there because of the practices that were happening there. But anyhow, that's a different story. So I was born in Bangalore. I'm basically a Kannadiga. I am from Karnataka. My father was in Northeastern Railways, and the first job he got was in Gorakhpur. So when I was 6 months old, I'm told they moved to Gorakhpur. And then I spent the next 20 years between Gorakhpur, Banaras, Allahabad, Bareilly, Nagar, okay, wherever my father got transferred. But I did my schooling and graduation from Gorakhpur and did my ICSC from Bareilly, and then ended up doing my materials management course from Allahabad, and then FMS BHU for my masters. I was a fairly good sports person. but very poor in academics till my 11th. I almost flunked in my 11th standard because I was so good at games that I used to be playing all around. I mean, even one day before my exam, I was in some other place playing football tournament. So early part of life, one lesson is that sports really gives you tremendous amount of learnings, especially team sports. And I used to play a lot of team sports. Individual sports, I used to play badminton, table tennis, and billiards. But team sport gives you a lot of learning. I was my school captain, college captain, so that also gives you leadership skills very early in stage. And this is not school captain in any game. I was a school head boy. That time we used to call the school captain. So I think those early days for me, combination of sports and combination of what I learned around from some of my failures helped me become a much stronger person. I always wanted to join the army. I mean, my dream was to join the army. I got into the army, but my mother was not at all in favor of my joining army, and I mean, they pushed me to take up any one exam, any entrance exam, and if I could get a post-graduation course, I would. Uh, all exams had got over. BHU was the only one because they were running late session that I could hit the entrance test. And I tried my best to not pass, but I got through. So I wanted to join the army. And that's how I came to BHU. And BHU, of course, post my 11th graduation, I was a ranker. BHU also, I think I was among the top 3. So I've had some fabulous career, both education and sports after my 11th. Because my first failure taught me lessons that, I mean, failure is an outcome. Okay, your process has to continue. Your effort has to continue. I mean, if you do well compared to others, they call you successful. If you don't do well compared to others, they call you failure. But it's all about what you're doing. And that's a belief that has continued for me, whether it was my journey in shoppers, a journey in setting up a retail association in India or setting up TRRAIN in India. Always believe in doing the right thing. And the outcome is, okay, you're calling me, inviting me because you believe I've been successful. But when I was working in shoppers or doing RAI, I never thought I'm building this to become successful. Success is an outcome. The moment you say, I'm building this to fail or I'm building this to success, I mean, you just can't operate. You're building it to create something, to give somebody some reason to buy a product or service. And people like it. You build relations, they love you, you love them. And then becomes a brand, and then you are called successful. So, yeah, so FMS BHU, lots of lessons. I think we were probably the only batch which got delayed by 1 year. Yeah, we joined in 79 and passed out in 82. Our FMS was a 3-year course because we had twice Candid, and probably the only batch when we had 2 or 3 times Candid. We were thrown out of the hostel every 6 months. 24 hours notice and you run away from the hostel because campus is closed. So apart from studies, yeah, the one thing that I remember of BHU where at least we were staying in Vishwakarma hostel.
Yes,
and 8 or 10 of us were there together, and all of us, I used to run a Tambola club. You know, at that point of time, my parents used to tell me $225, okay, including boarding, lodging. It was cost us 225 rupees. I used to save in a post office. Just behind Vishwakarma was a post office. I don't know whether it still exists. Then what do you do for extra pocket money? So I used to run a Tambola club. We used to do housey Tambola across the university every weekend and make some 150, $200. And then all of us would go for movies and go to the gate to have Laung Lata and then go to the Halwai to have the milk and curd and jalebi, and of course chachi ka kachori. So I mean, these were some of the wonderful memories that we have, and our strongest group of friends have been from our MMS BHU. And I mean, even yesterday we were talking. Today is two of our colleagues' birthday. Today we celebrated. So that's the way the life has been. But that has been one of the best parts of my early days of my journey.
So, sir, if you had to like summarize your BHU years in 3 words in general, so what would they be?
The first was shocking. We never thought that in colleges, universities, you'll have these kind of union baji, and then you'll have signalize, and universities will get closed, coming from the background. Second was fun, and the third was learning. We enjoyed our 2 years. I mean, we had fabulous professors. Our marketing professor, Dr. Abrar Ahmed, was a fabulous person. He not only taught us marketing, but also made us into better human beings. So I would say, yeah, these are three things.
Sir, I have read one book, The Shooter by Phil Knight, and I think both of you, the founder's mindset is always the perseverance and the consistency. So this is you all build yourself, or you just came out with the process you all have.
No, I think, see, it depends on what gives you satisfaction. And I keep telling students, I have, I have a, I keep saying there are three F's in your early careers in life for which you work for. Either you work for functional satisfaction, that means you're very happy, or you work for financial gains, you want to make money, or you work for becoming famous, fame and famous, depending on what you're chasing. I mean, for me, my functional satisfaction was the most critical part of it. I was enjoying my work and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So there was no question of for me looking at anything else. Automatically, perseverance and consistency came through because I was enjoying, I was building something. So every organization which was Shoppers 34 years, RAI 15 years, 18 years, TRRAIN now 14 years. I mean, it takes time to build something and make it meaningful and deliver promises and ensure that the experiences are delivered or you have created impacts. And it's always functional satisfaction. I wanted to enjoy what I'm doing. I mean, the next 1 hour I'm enjoying what I'm going to do with you. Outcome of this, I don't know. I mean, this could be a best podcast, or this may not even get 5 people. I don't know. But this moment, I'm enjoying talking to three young people, and that to me is very, very critical. And during my journey, I've had lots of youngsters, freshers who have joined me, who are now CEOs of different companies. When I look at them, all the youngsters who actually chased functional satisfaction means they wanted a great job, they wanted to work hard, they wanted to enjoy the job, serve the customers. They have grown. A lot of youngsters who left after 1 year, 2 year because they were getting a jump of 35%, they're still jumping. Or there are some people who wanted to become famous because somebody was, after sales officer was giving them a designation of vice president, so they jumped because they thought they become vice president. But they're stuck for 20 years as vice president only. So this is important lesson for all of us. Decide what is it that you want to chase. People who have chased functional satisfaction always have become famous in their own way. And they've always had good financial income. People who have chased only financial income end up with money, and money is not everything. So this is a choice that one has to make.
Thanks for that.
Next segment is the career journey from luggage to lifestyle to leadership. And within this, we would like to proceed with a few of the fundamentalist questions. So, sir, today's professionals often move quickly between roles, but your early career was built on deep and on ground exposure. I may be wrong on a couple of points, but you're free to correct me, sir. Say, be the exposures, be the sales, the branches, the travel, and the people management across the cities. So, sir, if you were to, when you look back at your early years with the companies like Gloplast, the Orson, the Corona, roles that involved selling luggage, the managing branches, and living out of the suitcases, because you traveled quite a lot and extensively, what did those years on the road really teach you about the India and the Indian consumers? And has that learnings been sort of modified in 2025, or has it been largely the same?
No, I think coming to your last question, see, everything has evolved. They've not got modified. They've evolved because consumers evolved, the countries evolved, the policies evolved. There's so much of evolution happening around us. In fact, some places have been revolution. UPI has been revolution. Mobile has been revolution. So when you have things evolving around you, you need to be in line with the evolution. I think that's the first thing that I would say it's important. If you look at my earlier career in Blowplast, I started as a sales officer, and my first area that I used to look after was Karol Bagh. I mean, what did it mean? I go every day morning to Karol Bagh market. From one end to the other end, I walk the street, I sell suitcases and collect the monies and come back and place orders, ensure next day delivery happens and the cycle continues. That's all I used to do. But I love doing this because after a period of time, I was not selling suitcases. I had such wonderful relationship with all my retailers that for me it was so easy to achieve my target. I just call them and say, sir, भेज रहा हूँ आपको 10 suitcase ये कलर का वो कलर का ये कलर का, and they would keep it. Or I would call on the 30th and say, I'm short of target. Okay, please buy so much so that I can achieve the target. And I'll say, यार नागेश भेज दे यार, तेरा target अच्छा हुआ तो हम भी समोसा गुलाब जामुन खाएंगे. I mean, it's all about relationship. And within 6 months, 1 year, I was promoted and given a larger area, Chandni Chowk. And then I was given the whole of Delhi for selling leather briefcases, which was a new brand called Solitaire, which Blowplast launched. And then opportunity came to say, Hyderabad, there's a vacancy for ABM. Would you like to go? I went across. So to me, hard work is the first thing that I did at that point of time. We used to start at 8 o'clock. I used to stay in a Barsati in Punjabi Bagh with another classmate of mine. Our salaries were 1200 bucks, 800 rupees salary, 400 rupees was our HRA. And we used to get 12 rupees per day as a daily allowance. So 12 रुपए में ऑटो को भी टुक का भी पैसा देने का है, lunch भी खाने का है. Okay, so I mean that was so it was firstly hard work, and these things helped us in really making us as tough and resilient to things. But we never कभी हमको लगा नहीं कि हमारे पास पैसा नहीं था या कमी थी, because we just enjoyed what we are doing. I mean, sometimes you'll sit with the dealer and he would bring खाना and he'll say, नागेश हमारे साथ खाना खाओ, ठीक है, बच गया 5 रुपया उस दिन का. So to me, building relationship, taking up roles, responsibilities, challenges has always been, and aspiring for something bigger. So when I was the assistant branch manager in Hyderabad, okay, I realized that Andhra Pradesh, that time Andhra Pradesh, before it split, had a huge potential. And I proposed to the management that if you make it into two, which is Hyderabad branch and Vijayawada branch, Vijayawada looks after Andhra and this looks after Telangana, which actually is the way now it is divided. I said the business will double. And my boss says, well, it is your proposal, you only go and open the branch. So Vijayawada is a 45, 48, 50 degree temperature. I had just got married. We went to Vijayawada and actually happened. Within 1 year, the business doubled. So to me, never ran away from being working hard. I think that's very critical. And like I said, I have no baggage. So कोई भी कुछ भी करने में डर नहीं लगता. At the most क्या होगा नहीं होगा. At the most क्या होगा, फेल हो जाओगे. उससे आपसे कुछ नहीं होने वाला. But I keep saying अगर ट्राई नहीं करोगे तो आपको पता कैसे कि फेल होगे या सक्सेस. So I think that to me is the important lessons of the early days of working. And then if people ask me, she was selling luggage, you went to television, from television you went to footwear. Yeah, because it was not the product. For me, the customer was the most important. I mean, irrespective of the product, I love customers and I know how to sell to customers, irrespective of the product. So much so that in BHU, because there was a delay in our session by 1 year, the first summer holiday, which was a delayed session, everybody went home. I was the only guy who stayed back in the hostel. And for the same company, Corona, I said, I'll do a project for you to understand customer behavior. And they gave me a project, and staying in the hostel 2 months in the summer, I went door to door across Varanasi and did a customer survey to find out as to what is the customer behavior towards buying footwear. And then I sent my project report, and I got a letter from the president that's one of the best project reports that we have ever seen. So I wrote back to them saying, since I'm looking for a job, will you give me a job? And they said, no, we take MBAs only from the top 5 institutes. They didn't give me a job. But after 6 years, they called me to take up the job as a zonal manager in Corona. So when I met the president, I told him, I said, you missed giving me a job 9 years back, and today you are giving me a job. Yeah. But like I said, it's all about loving something and just doing it and continuing with it.
So how did the opportunity with the Raheja Group and the Shoppers Stop first come to you? And as you have like famously seen, how you have said this, that it has been sort of a turning point in your life. So how did this whole thing happen?
It's a story, and it sometimes look like a dream. So when I used to run this footwear shops, 128 or 500 square feet each, so I used to tell my boss, Mr. Rajiv Sai, who was also my boss in Low Class, he was also my boss in Orson. He pulled me wherever he went. So I've never prepared my CV in my life after the first job. So he kept pulling me from one company to another. I kept joining him. So I used to keep telling him that, I'm fed up of running 500 square feet shops. I wish somebody has a 50,000 square feet shop. I'll run it. And his friend was the headhunter who was given the assignment by the Rahejas to find somebody who can run a 50,000 square foot shop. As simple as that. So the common word was 50,000 square feet. I had never been to Mumbai. I had never traveled abroad. I didn't have a passport. And Rahejas had no background on retail. And they had a property which was 50,000 square feet. So Rahejas को 50,000 square feet utilize करना था और नागेश को 50,000 square feet के दुकान में काम करना था. So the common word was 50,000 square feet. And when I met them, I interviewed with them, and they took me in. The first time I and my wife, the young daughter of 4 years, we came to Mumbai in 1991, and we've here for the last 34 years. So if you ask me what is it that made, I had a dream, and there was an opportunity. And I just picked it up. If I look at now in hindsight, it was probably one of the riskiest decisions I took. Today when I interview people, they ask me more questions than I ask them. I didn't have any questions. I just had one dream, 50,000 square feet, and he had the 50,000 square property. मुझे पता ही नहीं था करेंगे क्या उसका. It was a real estate company. So I think that's the key. एक ड्रीम था, वो कनेक्ट हो गया. अभी आप उसको डेस्टिनी बोलो, लक बोलो, कुछ भी बोलो, और मजा आ गया, और मजा आता ही रहा, और हो गया 30-35 साल.
And I just want to know the mindset that you have taken the most risky decision with the ma'am and for your daughter, and at that point of time, the pre-LPG era, and you have the restrictions, you have the things to do, so many things we are doing that right now online. So you have to do so many paperwork. You have to connect with the people at core 13 group member. So how you take this riskiness as a mental baggage, or you just say, okay, I had a dream, I had to go, and I'm just going for that.
As simple as this. There's no, I mean, when you have a dream, there's no baggage. If you have a baggage, you won't have a dream. Because if you have a baggage, आप पीछे मुड़ के काम करोगे. Okay, अभी आप गाड़ी जो है रेयर व्यू मिरर लेके तो नहीं चला सकते ना. गाड़ी तो आगे लेके चलाना पड़ेगा. When I started TRRAIN also, I said I just want to do this, and one day probably millions of people will celebrate. Last year, 20 million people celebrated in 33 countries Retail Employees Day that we started. So to me, it's all about dream, aspirations, and perseverance, and willing to face the failure if at all.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Proceed with the next segment, sir, which is the theme deep dive, retailing with purpose, leadership, innovation, the human side of enterprise. And within this section, we would like to know how you were, engaged deeply in designing the Indian department store, sir. So when you were building the shopper stop, what did modern retail, mean in a country which is just learning about the malls and the lifestyle, retail? And also, what were the early calls you made, like in the format, the location, the brand mix, and the service philosophy that you had to choose? Also, famously, the tagline that you chose for the shopper stop, which is sort of creates an environment for the consumer rather than just give them a 1 point sort of a delivery to their demands. So, can you just put some highlight on this?
So there were no malls at that time. There were only shopping centers, and there were good family-run stores, very good family-run stores. Whether it is Heritage there, or Amarson's here, or Akbar Ali's here, or Nalli's in Chennai. So they were very good stores, I must say, but they were all family-run. So I think the first thing we had to do, like I said, was to decide which category to get in. And we said we'll start with apparel and then go into accessories. Then we said you had an option to go premium at that point of time or go value. We took the call premium because somewhere we thought that India is growing and customers will grow in their life and therefore it will be easy. And the kind of environment that we are creating with parking, air conditioning, technology, service, self-service, we thought premium is the right positioning. But like I said earlier, it is never about product. It's all about experience that you create with the product. I mean, today India has what, 30, 40, 50 coffee shop brands. Most of the coffee beans come from similar places. But each one is different because of the ambience, the environment, the service, and the experience that you create. So it's all about the experience that we create. So multiple things that we did at that point of time. Open layout, you could pick the garment you want. Self-service, so that you are not intimidated by somebody coming on your head. People being trained to help rather than sell. So nobody will push you to buy. They'll help you make your selection. If you don't buy and go also, there's no issue. We go and get computerized billing. I mean, we were the first very early computerized billing. So what happens is immediately trust is formed. When you give a handwritten bill, you always want to count. When you give a computerized bill, even if there's a mistake, you don't count. So a lot of these elements that we brought in, which was enhancing the customer experience. And all this came because of research. We met a lot of customers. So when we heard these things from the customers, okay, we thought, let's deliver this to them. Experience of shopping was just not creating a product and selling. So if we sold ties, we did the country's largest tie festival, sold 10,000 ties. Okay, if we're giving them experience of travel, we never said buy a suitcase and travel. We said 7 wonders of the world, and we created a scheme for that. Okay, people started saying, oh, we buy in London. So we said, okay, we'll do a British festival. So every aspiration of the customer, we tried to meet with an experience that was created in store. And that's how the whole organization got built. In terms of people, since none of us from retail, all of us were learning. And the beauty of a team when everybody is a learner is nobody ever trips on mistakes. Because if you are a learner, I am a learner, you are making a mistake, I am making a mistake, there's no difference at all. Okay, so we learned to say, how do you live with mistakes and ensure that you don't commit the same mistake the next time? And that's how you actually build the organization. You are a human being, other person is also a human being. He's going through the same hardship. उसको पता नहीं ये दुकान चलेगा नहीं चलेगा क्या होने वाला है. वो आप भी उसी तरह से सोच रहे हो, बट दोनों मिलके काम कर रहे हो. Okay, और हाथ छुटा के काम कर रहे हो. I think some of these actually build the bonhomie of a team. And the first 13, the next 50, the next 150, the next 500, each time we added members into our team, each and every member across was called a customer care associate. So we were probably the only company in the world then and even probably now, which has only one designation, customer care associate. Across from CEO to the last person is called a customer care associate. So hierarchy निकाल दिया हमने, hierarchy था ही नहीं company में. तो भाई hierarchy नहीं है तो सब मिलजुल के काम करेंगे. तो it's see, some of these elements made a big difference. And if you ask me why this happened, because I mean I grew up in an environment where these were not important for us. I mean these things didn't make any difference to us as to what is the designation, what money you are carrying, from where you are coming, what car are you driving. It was just one ambition, aspiration of a team to say, let's serve the customers and let customers be happy and we'll achieve rest of the things. So this is how the business got built. The first one was a multiplex, a theater multiplex, which got converted. The second Bangalore one was a hotel, a 5-star hotel property, which got converted. The third Hyderabad was an IT structure, IT company, which got converted. So when you say location, size, shape, कुछ था ही नहीं पहले 10 साल. हमको तो जो मिला उसी को बना के चलाया. Okay, उसके बाद में जो पहला मॉल इंडिया में आया बड़ा, अंसल प्लाजा दिल्ली में. Okay, that's where we came in and we were the anchor of that place. That was the first big mall and we were the first anchor. And when we came to Delhi and became a tenant, everybody wrote us off because the rent that we paid for Delhi was unheard of. Everybody said, ये लोग मरने वाले. So So decisions were bold at every level. Risk was not just business risk or personal risk. At every level, we went ahead of the time. As a department store business, of course, so many people have come after us: supermarkets, hypermarkets, DMart, Reliance, Landmark Group, Lifestyle, Zudio, Westside. They have done extremely well. And we were early movers, and we have stayed to our position of a department store.
So yes, sir. My question is about, sir. Currently, we have read that the India quick commerce sector suggests that 10-minute delivery is becoming the consumer expectation rather than a novelty. And in your session, we have always read that it is always the experience and the relationship, which I think that quick commerce is kind of missing. While we are not actually experiencing those things, we are just experiencing that 10-minute quick delivery. So, do you think that it will change the consumer behavior or it will change the retail format style?
So one thing, there are some givens of retail, okay, which have not changed in the last 30, 40, 50 years. So when we started Shop Stop in 1991, the three words which came to our mind when we were building up the business and the brand was experience, convenience, and value. These were the three words. Last quarter, somebody was talking to me about the research that they did. They said these are the three words again which came: convenience, experience, and value. Yeah. Now, same thing in 1991. Convenience meant कि पार्किंग का जगह मिल जाएगा. वैल्यू मेंट कि ये ओवरचार्ज नहीं करेंगे. एक्सपीरियंस मेंट a great experience while shopping. Therefore, Shoppers Stop did extremely well. तब का Nagesh, I was 30 years old. Okay. I mean, today's Ankit, Akash, Srijan, you must be what? In your 20s, or Ankush, sorry. You must be in your 20s. Okay. Now, the 20s of 1991 and 20s of today have changed because of the tools that you have in hand, in your own aspirations, your own mindset. Now, we can't deal with you with a 1991 mindset. So businesses have looked at serving you, again taking one of the three. So if you look at a quick commerce, it is convenience. अभी हमको लगता है कि एक्सपीरियंस नहीं है, but a young couple in Bangalore सवेरे उठ के 6 बजे चाय भी नहीं बनाते, वो चायों से जो है चाय मंगा लेते हैं 6 बजे. I mean, that's a great experience. Just imagine कि आपका जो है वो 6 बजे अलार्म की जगह बेल रिंग होता है, वो बंदा चाय लेके देता है आपको. ओके, लुक एट द कन्वीनियंस. ठीक है. अभी आपको लगता है कि यार 220 रुपए का चाय पी रही है, क्या महंगा है, बट उसको लगता है मुझे तो उठना नहीं पड़ेगा, मेरे को गैस का खर्चा नहीं है, मेड का जरूरत नहीं है, मैं तो 220 रुपए में मैं चाय मिल रहा, मस्त है. सो फॉर हर और हिम इट्स वैल्यू. सो आई थिंक दीज थ्री वर्ड्स आर कंटिन्यूअसली delivering value to our Indian consumers. The consumers are evolving. The multiple channels which are coming. Okay, and the consumer has got tremendous power in our country. Because unlike in other parts of the world, where everything evolves step by step, एक के बाद आया. इंडिया में सब एक साथ आ गया. See, before department stores settled, shopping centers came. Before shopping centers settled, malls came. Before all the three settled, e-commerce came. E-commerce settle भी नहीं हुआ था, quick commerce आ गया. अभी we don't know क्या आने वाला. Okay, so Indian consumer is getting exposed to things much faster. अभी आप देखो क्रेडिट कार्ड का पेनिट्रेशन 15-20% भी नहीं था, यूपीआई आ गया. And UPI has changed the world. It is the largest transaction that happens anywhere in the world. So that's what is so good about. So as a business, unless you are able to connect with the consumer and are able to serve the customer in the way she or he wants, okay, you will not succeed. And that's what is happening today. What is the cost of doing the business and success? It's a different subject at all. अब शॉपर्स तो अपने जिंदगी में 4,000 करोड़ लॉस नहीं किया होगा, but now new businesses will do 2,000-3,000 crore loss and they're still valued very heavily because you believe you're creating something for the future. अभी फ्यूचर में होगा नहीं होगा किसी को नहीं पता. But that's the way the markets operate. That's the way the consumers operate. That's where the stock market's operating. So it's a different way of looking at it. And it's not very fair to compare today's way to 30 years back ways because these are two different environments. I mean, there was nothing. Just imagine for you all, there was no mobile, no email, no no WhatsApp. Okay, there was nothing. We used to work only with landline and white mail, paper mail.
So within this, we would like to ask two specific questions with in regard to the retail formats, the kirana and the market structure. So as of 2025, there are 19 to 20 million stores in India, retail stores in India, and out of which the modern retailers are somewhat around 10 to 12%. And the kiranas form around 1.2 to 1.3 crores as in stores in the country. And with Big Bazaar, Blinkit, Zepto, and many other similar segments coming to the retail sector landscape, how fares the future of the kirana store against them? And secondly, sir, how will they service the consumer and the scale the limitations here?
So in terms of numbers, what you said is true. India is the only country in the world where you have a one retail store for every 150 population. Okay, 1.5 million retailers for a 1.5 billion population. Yeah. Modern retailers hit about 14-15%. Food modernization is about 5-7%. Kiranas are still playing a very important role. The quick commerce is making a dent. By doing nothing, kiranas will not survive. Okay, they will get hurt. There's no doubt about it. But the cost of doing business with quick commerce, e-commerce is very high. If you look at the amount of money they're investing and burning to do the current business, it's unimaginable. Okay, today quick commerce market share may be 2 or 3% or less than that, but the amount of money they are putting to get 2% is unimaginable. Billions of dollars. So if they have to achieve 15% market share, they'll have to put maybe, I don't know, I don't even guess, maybe 15, 20, 30, 40 billion dollars. So it's not easy to get market share in the food market by the quick commerce. They're attempting, they've done a good job. There are some fundamental problems with the kiranas in this country or the traditional retailers. Firstly, they're all first, second generation retailers. Okay, they are in the age group of 50s and 60s. They still have the old mindset and not willing to change. Most of them were 10, 12 pass, not very educated. They all have spent a lot of money and educated their children. The stores don't earn enough money for both father and son to sit and make their livelihood. So they have educated the children and children are not coming back to business. So there is no succession plan or there is no generational change that's happening. The second generation, even if they want to bring in change, the first generation doesn't allow. Typical issues of a family business. Wherever second generation has been allowed, they've done very well. I mean, there are enough stories in this country where from one kirana you become 5, 10, 15 modern stores you have created, you become a chain of supermarkets. Enough stories in the country, but these are all where the first generation allowed the second generation to, and second generation has come into the business. So if kiranas are going to be affected, it is not because of quick commerce or e-commerce or modern retail. It will be partly because of competition, but mostly because of their mindsets and not wanting to change. Okay, and best example I give when I do address kiranas, and I keep telling them, your children, all of them have smartphones. Your children are buying online. Your family is shopping online. Okay, but you don't want to serve your customers online. जब customers, आज का customer shop करता है उस टाइम तो आप दुकान बंद करके सोते हो. I mean, most of the Gen Zs, the youngsters, they pick up. I mean, yesterday my daughter at 10:30 felt like having a choco cake. Okay, and 10:30 the bell rang. I got up. I said, "कौन है?" She came, "No, I have ordered for choco cake." अभी 10:30 बजे तो हम लोग तो दुकान ही बंद कर देते थे. बट कोई दुकान ऐसा है जो ऑनलाइन क्विक कॉमर्स ले रहा है, 7 मिनट में choco cake आ गया. So look at what's happening. Now, if you have to serve these customers, all three of you sitting here, I need to be aligned to the way you want to shop. I can't tell you shop the way I want. I can't tell you कि आप पहले से क्यों नहीं सोचा आपको चौको की चाहिए, 6 बजे लेके रखना चाहिए था 10 बजे खाने के लिए, और तो जमाना गया वो.
So, one thing we have all seen that the farming sector in India has always been the backbone of the Indian economy. And as early as the late Rajiv Gandhi's government, when the US actually put sanctions on India to open one of its four key sectors, which was the agriculture, insurance, the medical sector, and the film industry under Super 301. We now see that farmers in agricultural sector see bulk or wholesale purchases from the big players. So do you see this, that it is a form of exploitation from their exploitation of their capacity, their produce, because in bulk purchases the big players usually lower the price of the produce, or it is more like a partner in production sort of situation? This question, sir, I'm raising because largely the farmers in India belong to the Simant Kisan, or the borderline farmer segment, where they have 1 to 1.5 acre of land only. So and also because that this becomes important, sir, because very recently we have seen within Varanasi that Amul opened a plant, and thereby it provided the local dairy farmers with the subsidized form of subsidized cow breeds to maximize their yield of production of milk. So what do you think that the future of India in the farming sector, does it corroborate to a more like a partnership thing, or exploitation sort of?
No, I think let's understand what's happening to the ecosystem. Modernization is the way of life. You want to modernize, you want to have the gadgets. Yesterday I was reading iPhone has become number one. iPhone 16 has become the number one gadget. 5 years back they were saying it's such an expensive phone, who will buy? So everybody wants to modernize, whether it's a consumer or whether it is a farmer or a retailer or a manufacturer, they want to modernize. There's no option there. Okay. Technology is coming up. What technology does is the technology takes away the middleman. And that is the biggest thing that's happened. If you look at Zepto, or you look at Blinkit, or you look at the e-commerce, there's no middleman. It's directly dealing with the consumer. The B2B2C has come down to B2C directly. So when you have a situation like this, the middleman actually takes away a lot of money in this country. See, whether a bulk buy is happening from the modern retailers, okay, or it is not happening, the consumer in the city is still paying 100 rupees or 80 rupees for a tomato, which is sold by the farmer at 5 rupees or 8 rupees. Okay, so a lot of money goes into the middleman, and the middleman has not invested in the supply chain. They are only investing in getting the produce at a cheaper rate and then selling at a higher rate. Whereas if you look at the modern retailers, the modern manufacturers, they're actually investing in supply chain. So is it good for the farmers or not so good? Very difficult to say, but I sense it is better for the farmers. Because like you said, the farmer has just about an acre or 2 acres. He can't grow multiple crops. So he requires consolidation. Somebody has to consolidate for him. Then secondly, there are no planning tools. How does he plan for the future? Which crop to do? Which price to get? When will he get the price? So with contract farming coming, with brands like the McDonald's and the KFCs and the Pizza Hut talking of a certain product to be bought for the next 5 years at contract farming, I think these are positive methods. The same problem that I spoke about the Kiranas is the problem at the farm also. The second generation doesn't want to be farmers. So if we get the youth to come back, they will only come back if sectors are getting modernized. Okay, and if the sectors get modernized, the youth will go back. I mean, today, if you ask me, if somebody calls me to become a farmer with all the modern amenities, I may want to go there rather than sitting in Mumbai, which is becoming horrible, both in terms of pollution, traffic, blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, but environment. So I would say it's positive. I don't see as negative bulk buying or collaboration or partnership, because it's always a win-win for both the parties. Anything which is win-lose doesn't last long. Whether even if it's a large bulk buyer, if the bulk buyer keeps squeezing the farmer, okay, quality will suffer, life will suffer, and an unhappy farmer can never give you unhappy produce.
True, sir. Sir, I think I might have not heard of things, but expect from Amul, I have never heard a type of cooperative society which had helped the farmer so much. Because India, there is a mindset we have already we actually learned कि इंडिया में वही कंपनी पैसा बनाएगी जो किसान के बेटे को एक अच्छी लाइफ दे सके या वहां पे सामान बेच सके रूरल इकोनॉमी में. and the rural demand is recovering slowly as per the RBI current guidelines. So do you think that these quick commerce or the things which are going on will last long in the our economy, or will be like it will go and die in long run?
I'm I'm neither an astrologer nor a future predictor, so it's very difficult for me to say what will survive and die. One thing is very clear, that anything which is going to serve the customer, get better experience, convenience, value, will keep coming up, and it may evolve. So quick commerce has beaten the e-commerce business. E-commerce is coming back with quick commerce. So I would say that it's an evolution, and it will continuously evolve. And anyhow, nobody stays in the top for life. I mean, every 5 years, 10 years across the world, the top 10 are changing, the new top 10s are coming, and which is happening in India also, and it will happen at a much faster pace as we go forward.
So as we very quickly move on to our next segment, you have often said that the real asset of retail is the people who are at its front line. And in 2009, sir, you stepped out of your MD role and at the age 50 and started the train, guided by your personal beliefs and others. So how did that philosophy take shape? And what is train from your standpoint? Like how did the whole idea was conceived and you brought it to life? There's a second sub question, sir. Sorry for intervention. What was the emotional moment or incident that convinced you that the retail workforce, especially the frontliners, desperately need a dedicated platform?
So you did mention about my personal philosophy, which I was influenced by my father, of 25 years of learning, 25 years of earning, 25 years of returning. So around the age of 45, I had decided that I'll step down at 50 and start something where I can give back to the community that has given me so much name, fame, wealth, everything. Yeah, that decision was taken. I didn't know what to do. Uh, I also had in my mind that everything that's happened to me in my life is retail. So I'll also work from a philanthropic way also in retail. So these two things were clear. Around that time, one of our young front-end associate, a lady, she got burnt and she passed away. So I and my wife went to her house. Okay, she was staying in a chawl, and that young baby of I think 1 year, 1.5 years, and the husband was also working. They were in the late 20s, early 30s. When I went and saw their home, saw the condition, what the husband said in terms of the livelihood and how important was her income for them together, because her income brought in money so that they could live in a proper flat and things like that, and how he thought his life will become to manage a 1 year old baby without the mother. It actually, I mean, it jolted us, to say that with modern retail growing, so many people are creating major wealth, but one segment of the industry has not grown in life at all from a financial point of view, and this is not only true in India but across the world. So I did some research, and I realized that in the last 20 years, the salary of the front-end associate has not beaten even inflation, which means that their life has become only worse. Whereas that time they were 20, now they are 40s, they have a family. And then I can't go and give salary or give money to every retail associate in this country. I said, is there something that we can do which can make their life slightly better at work and home? And then we identified 4 areas to work. One was pride, second was respect, third was inclusion, and fourth was development. And we said, how can we work on all the 4 areas? And for each area, we actually selected a project. Celebrating Retail Employees Day across the world on 12th of December was to build pride. Recognizing them for customer service became respect. Creating a workforce where persons with disability can be included in retail became inclusion. And developing learning management systems and tools to help them grow in life became development. So we just work on these 4 areas. And this is how TRRAIN emerged. And I had never worked in a charity. I had never worked in a philanthropic organization. I didn't even know how to set that up. But since I had taken the call, I stepped out at 50 and set it up. And it's now 14 years. And touchwood, it's done well for itself. It has developed a good brand, a good name, good credibility. It's not easy to run a not-for-profit. We have 100 centers across the country. So it's a fairly national NGO. And we have our own struggles and our own challenges, and we have also great fun moments and great moments when we know so many lives have got impacted. I won't say there was any emotional. Uh, See, I am a firm believer of letting go and allowing succession to happen. I mean, this has happened right from day one from me. I mean, before I start something, I say if something happens to me, who will run the business? So TRRAIN is run by Amisha, who's the CEO of the trust, and she and I started this together. So I know if something happens to me, she will be there. Same thing I did with Shopper, same thing we did with RAI. So one of the important things to grow is unless you let go your chair, okay, and help somebody occupy your chair, you will not get somebody else's chair. Okay, if you put a Fevicol and get stuck to your chair, so wherever you go, the chair and the designation will follow you. You won't grow it up. And this is something that very early in the career I took a call. So for me, helping, training people develop into the next level became part of my role. And I always am strong believer that all people are good. Trust them and help them grow. When you help them grow, you grow automatically. Yeah. So I keep saying that for 25 years, I was the CEO of the company. I didn't get a promotion, but I was the CEO of a company which had 13 employees, 47 lakhs, and I became a CEO of a company which was 10,000 employees and 5,000 crores. So I did not grow, but the company made me grow. People made me grow. I think that's the beauty of growth. And growth is not about designation, how many crores you have in your pocket. It's all about how well you're able to lead and help people grow in life. And that's why you're called a leader.
That's a very noble sentiment, sir. So, may I take a liberty to extend on this, sir? What kind of impact do you think that TRRAIN has been able to, create for retail employees, especially the persons with disabilities and the young, women in India as of today?
See, people say we have done well. We have grown well in the last 14 years, starting with 22 youth PWDs that we skilled and got jobs. Last year, we did about 8,500. Cumulatively, we have skilled 52,000 persons with disability and got them jobs. 18,000 girls and got them jobs. But you know what? Even at this rate of growth, we will not be impacting more than 1% of the community. So, world may say we have done fabulous. I may think we have done fabulous, but we have failed because we got only 1 out of 100 marks.
So on 23rd February 2015, in an RII summit, in a very enigmatic and an empowering, energetic chairman's address, you talked about a dream that by 2020, every employee, or perhaps the date might be missing, that who works for any retailer will be an Rashi certified, RASCI, so as you famously know about it, certified retail expert, and also a first formal retail policy document with the RAI by the governments will be achieved. So, may I take the liberty to ask that has the dream been achieved, and what's the current stage of development and your view of future, if you're comfortable to respond on that, sir?
So I think your question has two parts. One is, has every employee become Rashi certified? No. Yeah. So we have to go back and ask the question to Retail Association Skill Council of India, which is a skill council. They've done well. They've skilled about 500,000 people, but retail has 56 million people. So they must have skilled about 2% or 3% of the whole population. In terms of front-end employee becoming important into the industry, I think it continues to be very, very important. And his or her role is becoming increasingly important because eventually it is the last mile which delivers the experience, especially in brick and mortar retail. Even in online, it's becoming more and more important. Do you require certification and education to become a great retailer? No. I mean, if you look at world around, the best of retail CEOs are not necessarily MBAs. I mean, they all have grown from the bottom. Okay. I may have been an MBA, but I started by running a shop of 2,000 square feet. I mean, basically a small shopkeeper, you can say. I was called a general manager because the environment and the designation was such. So retail is all about growth. Retail is all about service. Retail is all about ambition, aspiration, perseverance, consistency. And if you look at the CEO of Walmart who retires, I think next month, Doug McMillon, he started as a loader in the warehouse of Walmart. And of course, after that, he went and studied in Harvard. So he got educated. But that's the way retail gives you opportunity.
So as of now, in this age, if I ask you, if you want to start something new, what it should be? If I know that a person like you must have an appetite for new things, always.
No, I still have a long way to go with TRRAIN. Okay, but if you ask me that if it's an imaginary question, I would want to start something for 50 plus in the country if I had to start. I mean, this is that segment of the country which has got the maximum money in their hand. Very little commitment now because the children have grown, and most children, irrespective of the status of the family, have done better than their parents. And they have free time. They are retiring early, and they have a longer life. They're more healthy. So if I was given a chance and money and capital, then probably start a business for 50 plus.
And
What business I want?
so you are just again waiting for the opportunity.
No, I'm not looking at doing anything at this stage in life. Okay, but I definitely want to see, I'm 66. As per my commitment to myself, I have another 9 years to go for my TRRAIN journey. I just want to see that TRRAIN consolidates. It becomes a fairly large, impactful organization. It's not about size, it is about impact. You know, when we see 33 countries celebrating Retail Employees Day, millions of employees around the world celebrating the 12th of December. I've not been to even 32 countries there. I mean, it's become viral. People are celebrating. They're spending money. It's the joy of seeing people enjoy their life because of something we did. So I think that is something that I would like to continue.
You want to train to grow, making yourself see in your mirror and saying, yes, we did it at 100 on 100, not 1 on 100.
No, वो नहीं होगा 100 क्या 5 on 100 भी नहीं होने वाला. इतना बड़ा अपॉर्चुनिटी है और अकेले 5 on 100 भी नहीं होगा. To achieve 5 on 100 we have to skill 2.5 million people, which is 25 lakh people. अभी तक हमने 60,000 किया. Okay, we have a dream to do at least 1 million by the next 2032. Okay, from the current 60,000, 70,000. So we are on that journey, but it's not an easy journey. But we are not going to give up.
Truly, sir. So, as we enter into the second segment of our conversation, sir, creating a business today in the retail sector. So, in India, it is commonly known and sort of spoken by most of the people that boring businesses will help you make a lot of money. Now, we know that most of the said boring business is family owned in the country. What, according to you, is the the next boring business market segment that any person or any entrant should look for in 2026?
When you said boring, what did you mean?
So boring business, as in people, like business leaders, they have said that a business which is driven by a lot of passionate people, like for example, the restaurant business, don't often end up doing a very good level of business unless and until they sort of give a consistent outcome in their produce and their deliveries.
Yeah. But Stephen, it's not boring. If you go and ask the entrepreneur who's working 18 hours a day and burning his butt out, he's not boring. He's enjoying it. You are sitting outside and say it is boring because it doesn't make money. And this is where I said, I mean, you can't compare everything to money and outcome.
Okay, sir.
Okay, you go and ask any business that you believe is boring. Okay, the person who's running the business, चाहे कितना भी loss हो रहा है, उसको पूछो boring है क्या? कभी नहीं बोलेगा. कभी नहीं बोलेगा. So this is, I think it's not a very fair statement to say boring business. Like I said, every business entrepreneur wants to do his business well to see a positive outcome. Okay. Whether competition, lack of capital, lack of product, lack of service, something leads him to that situation where he is not able to sustain the business. And we call that as failure. Yeah. But he has tried his best. He has tried. I mean, let's not take an example of 10 rich people's son where somebody gone and burned the money and and he feels the business is boring. I mean, even most routine businesses which are run by tech today. I mean, let's say if you're doing stock market and you're doing tech through algos, you may think it is boring. No, I mean, your mind has to work on nanoseconds. So I would say that there's no business which is boring. Okay, when people are not able to do other kind of businesses for themselves, they call this as boring because they can't do it themselves. Okay, and if I look at families, I think families look at stability. Okay, and therefore they do not want to take risk. But don't forget, in the family business, somebody in some generation has taken the risk.
True indeed.
Okay, it is only the second and third generation which doesn't want to. I mean, there was an article which said that most of the second or third generation, in fact, I think Harsh Goenka said this, are all running family offices, spending the family wealth in investment. So that's the easiest thing to do. Setting up a factory, running factory with thousands of labor is the tough thing. I mean, you need to look at day in and day out. So I think it is the generational change which is making people talk about businesses as boring. Otherwise, I don't think anything is boring. I mean, life is ticking. I mean, you're enjoying. We spent the last 1.5 hours talking. I mean, was it boring?
No, sir, not at all. In fact, I must say that.
So I'm just saying, I'm enjoying it. If you are enjoying, it's fabulous. If somebody is sitting there thinking, क्या बकवास हो रहा है, तो उसके लिए boring है. मेरे लिए थोड़ी boring है. उसके लिए boring है. Okay, I think that's the way you have to see life.
So, sir, coming back to the question, like which segment should any new entrant should look for, as in 2026, sir, new year comes to the door, to enter into the market and make a business. And very quickly, sir, if you can sort of create a blueprint that what one has to do to create that brand and to enter into the market as a company as such, what they must do if they are completely oblivious.
Almost. The way you're saying it looks like you are the investor and I am the entrepreneur and we are in an elevator and you want me to do an elevator pitch. Yeah. Like I said, that opportunities are multiple. Yeah. If I look at the spectrum of opportunities, I would say there's huge opportunity in the farming, agriculture, produce segment, because the modernization and technology is not hit. Wherever the consumption and the businesses are happening but not got modernized, there's an opportunity. The modernization is modernization of production to sale to service, or bringing in tech change. A lot of tech have brought in change. I gave example of UPI, such a simple thing. मैंने आपको पैसा दिया, आपने मेरे को माल दिया. Okay, so look at what UPI has done. So I'm saying the opportunities is sitting in each of these sectors. Well, if I look at what the world is saying, everybody wants to chase AI. Okay, I'm not very sure how much of AI will come into use in our lives on a day-to-day basis. It will definitely influence our lives. So there is no difference about it. If you ask me in terms of one or two fundamentals that I would suggest to any entrepreneur is, whichever business you want to do for creating a value and not for valuation. I think that's the first suggestion I will give. Second is, look at the business from the impact it can create, and look at saying it should create value for you and as well as for your next level of shareholders, which means the business should have continuity and should have a long-lasting life for itself. Okay, today's business we're talking of, wanting to create for valuation, then sell it off, do things like that, which is not lasting. Businesses have to last generations. They cannot be made for a periodic time of 3 years or 5 years. That's the second thing that I would say. Third is, well, there are opportunities existing and there are some opportunities people don't even know that exist. I mean, quick commerce is a great example. I mean, nobody ever thought that you require things in 10 minutes. And here are two young boys who come and created a business worth billions of dollars by delivering things in 7 to 10 minutes. So there are opportunities sitting. I don't know. I'm not looking for opportunities so offhand. I can't just say. But there are methods or ways to really look at businesses. I'm still coming from the old school thought. So most of the things that I would have said would be slightly old school thoughts. Cash flow is important. Look at profitability. Take care of shareholder value. Create value for your customers, your employees, and your shareholders rather than looking at valuation. I mean, these will be considered as old school thought in today's modern world.
Thank you, sir. So we were joined by over 35 audiences through a participation link, sir, and and we have chosen a select few questions from them. If you're comfortable, sir, maybe proceed with that.
Right, please go ahead.
So we enter into the audience Q&A section. This will be taken by Mr. Akash Srivastava.
Okay, sir. One question is from Vasudevan from TapMe. How should we prepare ourselves for the future, for the next coming years? He is doing a MBA.
Be sure of what you want to do while you're doing your MBA. I think that's the first thing. Second is, I use the word 3F. Be sure whether you want to do a job or a business which you want to love, or you want to do because you'll become famous, or you want to do because you're going to make more money. Okay, all the three don't happen simultaneously. Any one of them starts the lead and then other two follow.
Okay, sir. And sir, one question from Vishal Kumar. I have a small shop in my hometown. So, sir, I just want to ask, by 2035, will the local market will survive, or I have to make it digitally strengthen my own shops?
No. Traditional market will survive for the next 50, 100 years. But if you remain the way your father was running the shop or the way you're running the shop, you will not survive. You'll have to bring in change. So if you have a shop, let's say 1,000 to 2,000 square feet or 2,500 square feet, you can modernize it. You can go to our website, www.train.org. In the publication section, we have put a report which has been published with TRAIN and Accenture together as to how modernizing a kirana or a shop can double your turnover and profit in 3 years' time. Have a look at that. I am a strong believer, if you modernize, if you serve your customer in the right way that the customer is asking for, bring value, experience, and convenience, you will survive. Others may not survive, but you will survive.
And so the third question is from Rupali Rai from X5. She is saying that we have read a lot about the fair retail ecosystem. What does actually it look like? Fair retail ecosystem.
Fair retail ecosystem.
Yes, sir.
So I don't know. I'm difficult to understand how the question or where the question is coming from. See, the ecosystem wants retail to be fair. There are people who may not do a fair trade practice. In India, fortunately, because you have an MRP, at least to the extent overcharging does not happen to a great extent because you have an MRP regime. Yeah. Because of the consumer courts, okay, frauds are happening, but at a very, very low level. I don't think it's a very big thing. But fair trade practice is the most important practice for you to build a brand. If you want to build a brand, if you want to build a retail brand, unless you are fair in terms of your trade practices, neither your employees nor your customers will stick with you. So I would say it is essence. Build a value-based organization, have a culture of wanting to serve your customers, and be fair.
Okay, sir. And sir, last question is, I am summing up the things. 2006 is just starting. So what should you say we all have a resolution for this year? Because most of us are in the MBAs and most of us are passing out or the first years. What should your resolution plans?
Whatever I do, I want to be happy. I want to serve the community. And I should be grateful to Almighty for making me an MBA.
Okay, sir.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking your time and having us, walk this journey from storefronts to social impact, and for reminding us that the real metric is how many lives we touch as we move forward. And on behalf of INR, the Inside Room, and everyone listening, sir, we are deeply grateful. And we hope that this is one of first of many conversations, though we sort of extended over the timings which we previously agreed to. But thank you so much, sir. And it has been an absolute honor and a pleasure, sir. And
thank you very much. And thank you for the wonderful session. Thank you for being there with me through and through. And enjoy the interaction. And I hope your audience will enjoy, and people who see are definitely going to enjoy it.